I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters and After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to MacWave. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I am your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you have ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your Tuesday night, to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale at 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always broadcasting live at ksqd.org, which you can reach via our website or our new app available in the App Store and Google Play. Super cool. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Computer Man Show. We got a whole bunch of information, about 2.5 hours worth of information squeezed into the next hour for you, and we're going to get to it real quick. My packet is fatter than ever. Lots of things going on in the tech world, lots of things going on in the world, and we're going to get to as much of it as we can tonight. Of course, you say to yourself at any point, wow, this guy's talking a little bit quick. How am I supposed to get all these steps down? I wanted to listen. What am I supposed to do? I passed it. It's too fast. Well, you can jump over to ksqd.org, click on the listening tab, and under there's a 2-week audio archive. Under there, you can click and find any of our shows, including Talk of the Bay, which is so important, or even something like Democracy Now!, or some of our early shows like Tom Hartman, or even some of our music shows that maybe play at night. You can listen to anything from the past 2 weeks at our audio archive, ksqd.org, and then click on the listen tab, and then under there's the 2-week audio archive. And of course, while you're visiting the amazing KSQD website and checking out what's going on in the neighborhood and all of the things that are going on here at the station, click on that beautiful candy-like donate button, because it allows us to exist. It allows us to be here. It allows me to come in and talk with you for the hour on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. So I'm stoked to be here, but I am stoked that you are our listeners, because you're the ones who keep us going, and you're the ones we do this all for. So I am stoked to be here for you, and it's time for you to be there for us. Click on that donate button, give it your fair share, what you feel it's worth to you, and make it reoccurring so we know what's coming in. That'd be awesome, and we super appreciate you. I super appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. If you'd like to reach out to me after the show, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. But while we're in the studio, the dots are lit. That means the phone line is live at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. And we're going to be lighting up those phone lines here in just a moment. But first, what is this Computer Man Show? If you stumbled across this for the first time, first, of course, welcome to the show. Welcome. But what are we? What are we going to be talking about? Well, computers. But most importantly, updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and call-ins. That's right. Whatever's going on with your desk, whatever's going on with your bench, your machine, your device you spent all this money on that's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, give me a call, 831-900-5773, and let's talk about it together. See if we can get it working, see if we can at least get you on the road, or at least point in the right direction, or maybe it's time to get something new. We can talk about it here. 831-900-5773. We're here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m., and we also have the amazing On Air at ksqd.org. That's our live email here. I have it up in front of me right now, so if you want to shoot me over an email, it'll come through right away. On Air at ksqd.org, or our phone number, 831-900-5773. All right, well, we normally open up the show with scams, and I have so much stuff to talk about. We're not going to have a lot of scams, but I did want to talk about something that's kind of in the scammy world. I wanted to introduce everybody to an AI bot called Daisy. Daisy is one of the coolest things that AI has come up with just recently, or humans have come up with to make AI come up with itself. Right. Daisy is basically a chatbot that wastes scammers' time by impersonating an elderly lady. So you basically it listens to the scammer's spiel, writes it down like if you were taking a voice to text message, and then from that literally turns on the scammer by using the text prompt that the scammer said, hi, and they the thing, hello, this is so-and-so from AT&T. We're calling about your account. Your account has a problem. This is policy number 6512345678910, and this is so-and-so account for, and they just give you a bunch of nonsense stuff that sounds official, but start talking to you about your account, start talking about your thing, your this, your that, whatever it is. and the AI chatbot listens, and then from that goes through and actually makes a whole script and will respond back. It's like, okay, well, let's start with your account number. Oh, okay, I've got account number, so my account number is 5. Did you hear the first five? The first 5. Okay. The second number 5. Well, no, the first number is 5. The second number isn't a 5. It looks like a 5. I remember my daughter back in the day. She had this thing, and it's nonsensical craziness. I heard there's a YouTube video that someone put up of. It's not designed for someone just to call and listen and have a conversation with. It's designed to literally go against scammers. So unless you're a scammer, you're probably not going to hear it. But there are YouTube voice transcriptions of this that just came out the other day. So they're getting it. They're moving through it, a number of things with it, and it's awesome. So there's a guy, Jim Browning, who does scam busting. Basically, there's a lot of scam busters out there. I really enjoy watching the ones that have people log into the actual scam centers and then get onto their camera systems and then be able to look at the person that's actually talking to them in the scam center and describe their sweater and say the guy next to them and stuff, and then find out who it is and start talking to them and stuff. Just creepy, weird things kind of going back onto the scammer, right? But they basically used this company and made this company and called him a head of scammer relations. But this Daisy AI bot is programmed to give rambling stories to callers. The details are pretty awesome, actually. It's there's meandering stories of her family talked at length about her passion for knitting, or provided exasperated callers with false personal information, including made-up bank details. I mean, it's great. That's amazing. So how do you use it? Well, it's in the UK right now. It's actually done by Virgin Media, and they are trying to get it released so that you could basically jump over and just jump onto it. It's they're like, well, why make the AI sound like a social stereotype of an elderly woman? Said the prevalence of telephone fraud in the UK is particularly felt by the elderly, with scammers targeting people that are over the age of 75, and a huge majority of these scams are conducted by phone. It's not, of course, unique to the UK, as we know. We hear it here all the time. But they're using social. We talk about it every week. They're using social engineering techniques. They don't need to write the software anymore. They don't need to write amazing advanced pieces of code to get past my Norton antivirus, which I'm not running because Norton antivirus is garbage. But they're, you know what I mean? Like they're not doing that anymore. They just call you and tell you they're the bank. They call you and tell you that they're Amazon, Chase, AT&T, whatever company you might have. And if you don't have that number, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong number. Click. I don't have AT&T, but I have Comcast. You're like, oh, okay, I'm really sorry about that. Click. Guess what? A week later, you're going to get a call up from Comcast from probably the same number or something similar. It's all social engineering. Just say who it is. It's a lot cheaper that way. Follow the script. You'll get some. You won't get others, and you don't have to write any software. Okay. Yeah, it's really cool. So what they're doing is there's a way, I guess, in I don't know if it's just in the UK, but there's a blocking service that's like 7726 on the UK phone system, and I'll find this out if it's coming over here or not. But theoretically, you could use this number, and as the scammer's talking to you, basically snap them over to it, and it picks up. It's incredible. So it's in its infancy. It's new, but I loved it. It was such a cool idea. I mean, to actually use AI to waste these scammers' time. And the whole point, like we've always been saying, the reason why I waste their time is because if they're scamming me, they're not scamming someone else that actually might fall for it, right? They're wasting their time with me. They're wasting their time with me. They're not wasting their time or using their time trying to get somebody else. So pretty cool. But it's called Daisy, the AI bot. So I love that. I want to talk about that. That's actually something positive. Pretty cool. Let's see what else. Yeah, if they're too busy to talk, it says right here, they're too busy talking with an AI granny. They can't scam our real grannies out of their life savings. Yep. And again, if you're interested in any type of cybersecurity, any of this kind of stuff we talk about on the show, but you'd like a little bit more of a deeper dive, cyber101.com is a website that these two dudes created somewhere in the United States, or actually not really sure where they are. They were students. One guy was a digital guy, one guy was a tech guy, and they went together and created this website that basically covers all of the cyber criminal type topics. So ransomware, device security, multi-factor authentication, malware, security and privacy, network security, all that kind of stuff. It's free, no ads, no catches for any data mining or anything like that, just information. And they actually have a thing where you can sign into it, and then you can do some classes and then graduate from the class and go to another one, et cetera. So it's a cool resource, and it's just really nice because they really push the fact that they don't mine for data. They don't push ads. It's just information information, and it's to help you learn and get noticed. Or not necessarily get noticed, but notice what's going on. Help you notice what you're seeing and maybe educate somebody else as well. So cyber101.com, it's totally free. They're going to start like a phishing thing where you can actually send emails out to people as a phishing test and say, oh, you fell for it, and then you have to go through training, et cetera. So it's pretty cool. But if you're curious, cyber101.com, and you can find out and see about it. Let's see. Those are email questions. We're going to do that second half of the show. Let's see what else. I have all these papers. So many things. I don't want to complain about Apple yet. Let's not do that one. We've got a number. Let's see. Wow. Lots of stuff. I complained about that last week too, and we also complained about that last week as well. Oh, also, just a public service announcement. As YouTube raises the price of premium across several countries, Brave Browser would like to remind you that the Brave browser lets you block YouTube ads for free. Yep. So like this isn't like a journalistic thing where if you block an ad from a journalist, the actual newspaper doesn't get money or something like that. This is YouTube. YouTube is Google. They have enough money, I think. So you can get around their ads because their ads are annoying. And instead of paying $15, $16 a month to get YouTube Premium, you get the Brave browser, which is built on the Chromium backend. So if you've used Google Chrome or Edge or Firefox, you're already kind of used to the way that it flows. The browser's not going to be different to you. But it will block YouTube ads completely for free. And they have a mobile browser that also lets you listen to videos while you're swapped to a different app or your screen is locked. That is an only premium feature that you have to pay $16 a month for with YouTube. If you want to watch YouTube, that's fine. But as soon as you go to another app and you want to keep listening to that, you can't. But Brave, the browser, will allow YouTube to play in that browser on your phone and allow it to continue on. So that's really cool. I think that's awesome. Okay, let's see what else is going on. But that's just a little PSA about the Brave browser. The Brave browser is just like, and just to get into it a little bit, the browser, if we're talking about it, is not your search engine, because DuckDuckGo also has a thing like that. But the browser is actually the program you use, the window to the net, right? That's your Firefox, that's your Safari, that's your Edge, your Chrome, your Opera. Those are all browsers that you can use, any one of them, to get to the internet. And it's a style, just like we pick vehicles, right? Like some people like to drive a truck, some people like to drive a sports car, some people like to drive a smaller car, some people like to drive a little economical car. Same way, you're going to use a browser based on your preferences. And so if you're trying to block ads right now, one of the best ones out there is Brave, and you can block the ads with it. And especially the big thing is YouTube and their ad blocking structure. They're kind of leading the pack in anti-ad blockers. Because that's where they make their money. And they're one of the biggest organizations that has money like that, or that has ads everywhere that come at you from everything. So block them. Brave browser and on your phone as well. So pretty cool. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Oh, yes! This is kind of a scammy thing. If any of you out there are looking for new routers, new type of networking adapters, new type of things, I would stay away heavily stay away from the Eero system, E-E-R-O system. Why? Eero was a pretty reputable, it was like a networking company in their infancy, and then I believe Amazon purchased them, or Amazon started a networking company and called it Eero after another company after I'm not really sure, but Eero is now owned by Amazon. Eero is you can get Wi-Fi mesh systems, you can get Wi-Fi systems, just like if you were to go buy like a Netgear router or a Linksys router back in the day or today or whatever, you would buy a router, hook it up, and set it up, right? And inside the router that you have purchased with your money at the store or wherever you bought it, right? You bought it. With that, you would be able to go into the settings and do some extra stuff. A lot of people don't, but some people do, like me. Like if I wanted to do some port forwarding. On the older camera systems that just plugged into your router, you would need to do something called port forwarding to allow the app that ran the cameras on your phone to pass through the router into the DVR where the actual cameras live and let you see that through the router, like a live streaming thing. And by doing port forwarding, that opens up a special doorway for that app to go through and come back out. And you're telling it, hey, I want this program to use this doorway to get to this device. And that's what you say. That's what port forwarding is. And so when you get on your app and it goes back to your router, right, goes into your internet connection because you're going back to your cameras, goes to your modem, then goes to your router. The router then goes, I'm seeing something on this port. What do I do with it? And it's like, oh, I have a rule that if it comes in on this port, throw it down that street. And so it throws it down that street, which goes to the camera system. The camera system livens up, brings it back on the street, back to your phone. You have cameras. That is port forwarding. That has been available in virtually every router that's existed since the routers have existed in the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that, when wireless came out, probably early 2000s. Anyway, so with that, why am I talking about all this? Eero, the Eero system from Amazon, has those features locked behind a paywall. That just pisses me off. That's so annoying. That's the whole locking the heated seats that are installed in your car behind a paywall. You bought the car. You own the car. The car's yours, theoretically. Here you are sitting in the car, and the button is grayed out because you haven't paid the monthly fee to the manufacturer to allow that feature to become alive. Everything's there. You just haven't paid the money. And it's the same thing with Tesla with their self-driving cars, right? They have the full self-driving mode. It's like $8,000 or $10,000. It might be $5,000 now, but that's a big chunk. And all you do is you literally pay that money, and then the feature turns on. Every car is capable of it, but they want to make their extra bit of money from it, so it's a feature. And we're going to see where that goes. But this alone, with the Eero system, advanced security, content controls, VPN, and ad blocking all are extra cost. Now, I used to have the Google Wi-Fi home system, and I still install the Google Wi-Fi pucks in a lot of people's homes. They're economical. They work really well. It's a good, strong mesh system, and it's still hanging out after it's been, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 years since it's come out. They then came out with the Google Nest system, which I really don't like. I got the Nest Pro system for my house, and I have to restart it all the time. I factory reset it all the time. I took it back. I got another set. I still have to factory reset that one. So just recently, I switched over to Unify, which is actually Ubiquiti's home systems, but they're also starting to push those out and phase them out or whatever, but their systems are still good. So I got what's called an Alien, a Unify Alien. It's like this, looks like a giant fat Gen 1 Echo from Amazon. And it's got a little screen on the front of it, and it's great. But the fact that this VPN extra stuff that Eero is saying that you have to pay for, I right now can get on my phone, jump onto the free Unify app, and sign on with a VPN right from my phone. So I go through that network connection on my phone, through my phone, through the internet, all the way through the tubes, all the way to my house, and then from my house into my router, and then I can actually use my home internet connection while I'm someplace else. So why would you want to do that? Well, let's say I want to watch a baseball game or something, this very generic thing, and I can only watch the baseball game in San Francisco, or I can only watch it in the Bay Area, but I'm in New York right now or something. And so I want to watch it. I want my phone to think it's in San Francisco, not to think that's in New York. So I can open up the VPN, go to the VPN, go to the network that's there, go onto a website, which is using my router in California, not the router and all the stuff that's in New York. And then it sees that I'm in California and therefore launches whatever I need to do that's in California. Also, it's a tunnel into different computers and things you have on your network, etc. But it doesn't cost extra. And it shouldn't. You can always get a VPN service. You can always get a VPN a company, a third-party company, NordVPN or any of these other companies that run the VPN services and sites, and you could do that, and that's going to cost you something, of course. But a lot of routers have this built in now, and if you get one, if you know how to use it, it doesn't cost anything extra. So the whole gripe of this is stay away from the Eero routers, because I don't like how they're adding things and then charging you for it when everyone else has those features as standard because you bought the thing, and they're not cheap. These Eero routers are expensive. They're not like $29 routers or something. You're getting this great deal and you just don't have to pay for those features. You're spending a premium price and still not getting the features. So that to me is irritating. Okay. Also, just real quick, Apple. We're going to talk about Apple for one or two things here. Apple added the iPhone XS Max and more to the vintage and obsolete product lists, but didn't add the iPhone 7 yet. Now, the iPhone 7, I had the iPhone 7 before I got my 12. We're on the 16 now, right? So my iPhone 7, which still worked, the battery was getting pretty bad, so I upgraded, and there was no battery service at that time. It was like expensive to do batteries. It's better now, but still, my iPhone 7 still exists. It lasts for like 40 minutes on a battery charge right now. It's really bad. But Apple has not added it to the vintage list. They added the XS and the iPhone 6S, and they added the XS Max to the vintage list. But if you have an iPhone 6S Plus with 32 gigs of storage, that one was already classified as obsolete. But that iPhone 7 isn't on there. And my iPhone 7 was having problems way back in the day, and it doesn't get upgraded. It doesn't take new operating systems. So that's weird. It's like they forgot it or there's a reason. So they say that Apple considers the device to be obsolete once 7 years have passed since the company stopped distributing it for sale. Okay, so like if, the iPhone, I think they stopped selling the iPhone 14s, I think this year. I think they're like 2 years ahead. So if they stopped it this year for the 14, then theoretically in 2030, the iPhone 14 will be obsolete, if my math is correct. Something like that. So once the device is obsolete, it's no longer eligible for repair at Apple or Apple authorized service providers. And the only exception being MacBook battery replacements for up to a 10-year period. So there you go. But I mean, right now, it's crazy because like a lot of people, I still get people bringing in their MacBook Airs from like 2013, 2014, 2015. That is now a 10-year-old machine, 11 years old, 12 years old. Isn't that weird? That's super. I just think it's super weird. Just time and stuff. But so right now they're saying that the 6S Plus and the XS Max are now vintage worldwide. The vintage is after the device is 5 years past since the company stopped distributing it. Obsolete is 6 years. Did I say 6 years? Anyway, yeah. 7 years. Sorry, 7 years. So it's 2 years past. Just curious. Okay, the other thing I brought in that kind of made me angry was, and I've seen it. In fact, I brought another article last week. We kind of talked about how you can get a Mac Mini. You can buy 2 Mac Minis entry level for the same cost as 1 Mac Mini with an upgraded RAM and upgraded hard drive. Like the cost is insane. I had a client call me today from either Best Buy or Costco, wherever they were buying a machine, and they're like, hey, I want to make sure my hard drive space, how much hard drive stuff I have, because I don't want to step up from 256 to the 512. So 256 gigs of storage to 512 gigs of storage. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, what's the price difference? And they're like, it's like $400. $400 right now. If you go to Best Buy and you buy a 500 gig hard drive, it's like $60, $70, $80. You go buy a 1 terabyte hard drive, right? Double the size. And we're not talking 256 to 512. We're talking 512 to 1 terabyte. So even larger. And the 512 is like, again, like 60, 70, $80. You go to a 1 terabyte, it's like $10 more, $20 more, something like that. Maybe. Apple has taken its market share of solid state prices and this is where they're making all their money. Right now, if you were to take let's say the Mac Mini from 2024 is $800 to upgrade to a terabyte. $800 is $200 for the 256. So it's an extra $600 for a terabyte of storage. Extra $600. Not $600 total, but extra $600 because you're already paying the $200 for the 256. So to upgrade from 256 to 512 to 1 terabyte, it's 12 times the cost of what it should be. 12 times. The Mac Mini, the M1 2020, had a 5-time gap, but the cost is going up and up and up and up and up, while solid state prices are going down and down and down and down. And it's really something, because there's a whole graph here, and they're showing 2013, like a 2013 MacBook, Mac Mini or whatever, it was like $300 for a 256 gigabyte. And now we're talking about, I mean, it's insane. It's 12 times the price. So make sure you're getting the storage you need. Don't pay for something extra. And if you really need extra storage, I know that's probably not the most streamlined thing or whatever, but you can get a nice flash drive. You can get a 512 gigabyte flash drive for a 16th the price of upgrading to that to half that space. I mean, so if you need, it's so frustrating. And that's why they're a $4 trillion company, because they're doing things like this, and they're selling MacBooks by the droves to schools, to organizations, and everything, because they're charging the amounts for storage. It's not costing them as much. That's the retail cost that I'm talking about, right? The extra $20, extra $40, retail, and they're making their own stuff. So what those chips that they're charging $400, $500, $600 extra for are probably pennies. Like, I would say the RAM that they're doing and the amount of RAM that the storage that they're putting in, because everything's soldered onto the board now, it could literally be $1 or $2 worth of parts, if even that, right? And they're charging $600 extra. So Yay, Apple. Yay. All right. But that really bugged me. And and it's the same thing with their whole obsolete stuff. Like, people have phones that work. My iPhone 7 still works. It still functions. It has a bad battery, but it still works. But it's e-waste, basically. Well, not according to this now, because I guess mine is still not vintage or whatever. It's still not in that list or not obsolete yet. But it's just gross. It's gross capitalism stuff, and it's gross like for the environment. It's just no one that benefits except for Apple. So yeah, society's not benefiting. We just have all these I have stacks of functional MacBooks at my shop. Stacks. Like literally, like I counted, I have like 4 solid stacks right now of silver MacBooks, not the white or the black ones, the silver MacBooks that all turn on and function and will go, turn on and be ready to do whatever they're doing, but won't go online the proper way because they won't write the security descriptors for the operating systems that they won't take anymore. So granted, I can hack them and put on newer operating systems, which people do, but you're like, dude, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. So, yeah, we've talked about it every week. So it's just, Apple's terrible. I agree. Yeah, I have one too, right there. I have my M2 MacBook right there, right? And it's fantastic. It's a great machine, but the practices that they use, the idea of that machine, the second I took it out of the box, it had an end of life date. Whether or not it's going to turn on or not, doesn't matter. It was going to die on a certain date, and they have that already predetermined. It's already ready to go. So I just don't like that. But again, you could buy 2 Mac Minis with 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage space for the price it costs to upgrade a single one to 32 gigs of RAM, just double the RAM, and 512 gigs of space. You could buy another one, another 16 gig 256 one for the cost it is for a 32 gig 512 just for the upgrade. And that's just wrong. So, all right. Well, we're going to talk about some other stuff. We're going to talk about, I had a couple questions for people about Blue Sky, the alternative to Twitter. We're going to talk about that and what makes it different. We're also going to talk about, we have some email questions coming up, as well as your listener phone calls at 831 900-5773. It's 831-900-KSQD. We're going to go to a quick break here, talking about the amazing things that keep KSQD online and keep it on the air and the things that are coming up here on the station. Don't go anywhere. We're going to listen to that, and we'll be right back after this quick word with the Computer Man here with your host, Luigi Opido, here on KSQD and KSQD.org.
From breaking waves to the airwaves, KSQD is your source for locally focused talk and music from around the world. Tune in to your community. KSQD Santa Cruz.
Get K-Squid's new mobile app and never be without your squid. Find out what's playing, browse our podcasts, text us quickly, record a comment, and groove to the tunes. Download the KSQD mobile app for iOS or Android at ksqd.org or in your app store.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
All right, we're going to come back. As of course, as we always say, all the amazing things that we talk about with computers, let's let them all ooze out of our brains with jazz. So let's do it. Coming up at 7 o'clock, Be in the Night. No better place to be. All you have to do is sit around and let it happen to you. Be in the Night coming up at 7 o'clock. Well, we're back with the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. We've got a caller on the line. Let's see what's going on out in the real world. Hello, you're on the air with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Hello, Luigi. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. Good to hear from you.
I have a question about cybersecurity, but it's outside the realm of computer cybersecurity. So
Okay.
I don't know if this is beyond your expertise, but I just want to run this by you.
Okay.
Do you have any knowledge of this international scam of people getting your credit card and then going online and charging a debit or a credit card from banks. Do you know anything about that? Because I have a question.
Yeah, I have dealt with that quite a bit, yes.
Okay. So a member of my family just got ripped off
Okay.
with her credit card. And she was trying to narrow it down on how somebody got her number and went online. And, they don't charge a bunch of things. I mean, they don't charge one thing at a big, price because, the bank security might, be a red flag. So they go and they charge smaller amounts, like under $100.
Right.
A dozen times.
Yes.
So, she was trying to narrow it down. Did it happen at a gas station?
Okay.
Did it happen in line at a grocery store? Did it happen in the actual bank, the bank that she belongs to? Did it happen at one of her tellers when she was drawing her money out?
Yeah.
So I advised her to go to the bank and ask them about their security with their teller machines if they've ever had any problem. I gave her my opinion that I didn't think it was somebody getting her code or PIN number or code at the grocery store when you punch in your number, because they don't actually have, the card number, the security number on the back. All they have is the code. And I thought, well, without the card information, how would they be able to charge on her card? So what is your advice? Because she did go to the bank and she was told that people have devices. It's kind of an international crime ring that has devices. Even from a distance, they can scan it, or they have scanners where they can actually read the card when it's in your pocket and stuff like that. I don't know about that, and I thought maybe you would know something.
Yes, actually, I used to work at a company that we would prox readers. We've all used a little card that beeps us into a building, something like that, or beeps us into a door. Here's your access card. It's a little card. You don't have to touch. You don't have to put it in the reader or anything. You can just touch it on the outside. And that's called a prox reader, a proximity reader. But yes, so to go back to the very beginning. The tellers, the ATMs, the things that we actually physically put our cards into could have something called a skimmer on it. And skimmers are very common. Not very common, but they're the most common way that people get credit card numbers, because they're manufactured to look just like the device you're putting on. They overlay over the top of them. So what I do, because I am a cybersecurity weirdo, every time I put my card into anything, I literally grab it with my hand and I kind of shake the garbage out of it. And a lot of times, if it's a skimmer, it'll pop right off. I have found one skimmer in my travels, one in my whole travel. I found it actually over in San Jose, and I told the guy behind the counter, and he took it out of my hands and kind of went away. And I called the police, and they went in there and did their thing. And I never got asked or called for questions or anything, so I'm not really sure what even happened to it. But skimmers are common, and they will take that first factor of because we need multi-factor authentication, right? The reason we can take things out of the bank, out of the ATM, is because we have three things. We have the human standing at the bank, we're at the bank. We have the card that we have to the bank, and then we have a code that matches that card. So without all the three of those things, we're not going to get any money out. If I walk up to the ATM and shout at it, it's not going to give me any money because I don't have a card, I don't have a PIN. If I have the card and I'm at the ATM, I don't have the PIN number, I still can't get any money. We have to have all three things in place, and we all know that's how society is functioning at this point. So to have someone skim the card, that absolutely could be. That's one of the more common things. Most common is if they do buy something online, which it sounds like they don't, but it sounds like if they do buy something online, they can be compromised, or they can go to a website that's not really real. There was a fake Costco website running for a long time that had two S's in the Costco. Looked exactly like Costco. People were ordering things, and all they were doing is collecting credit card numbers and just billing people for nothing. So that can happen as well. The proximity readers, like today, I beat myself into the studio here, and I have a little card in my wallet that I put up to the reader, and it beeps the thing through my wallet. But yet I have other cards that also I can beep at that little scanner thing at the grocery store, at the gas station. And if you energize all of them at once, it sends out nonsense. So a lot of times what they'll do is if there is a prox reader, or you'll see one of those wallets that has the special RFID protection in it or something, it's like they take that really thin static bag stuff that we get electronics in, and they put it inside the wallet, and it basically creates a Faraday cage inside the wallet around the cards so that any signal can't come in, any signal can't go out. And that's the skim. And the idea was that you'd have a card in your wallet that has this reader thing, or that has the proximity beeper technology. Someone walks by you with a scanner, and they scan your wallet as they literally just walk by you. And so you have the RFID scanner blocker wallet thing, and no one can scan that. But most card manufacturers now have that technology. And I've got 2 or 3 cards that have the technology, and they're literally sandwiched on top of each other in my wallet. So if somebody walks by and does the scanner, which all it is an electromagnet device that produces an EM signal that then energizes a small coil of wire inside the card that then energizes at such a low voltage that then as it gets energized, it starts up the chip that's inside the card and then broadcasts the little signal, which is just a blatant blah, blah, blah of my numbers out of the card. So if somebody walks by me with 3 cards in my wallet and scans my wallet, they're going to get a mishmatch of all 3 of those cards firing up and spitting out their numbers all at the same time. So RFID scanning when you walk by somebody has kind of gone by the wayside. It was really good for a minute, but more people got more cards. If you have more than 1 card in your wallet, it's going to energize 2 and it's going to be all nonsense. So I don't think it was that either. I think it most likely was something that the card was put into, a skimmer, some type of thing that was scanned. It could be someone literally now looking over your shoulder as you're putting your card in. They could take a picture from far away and zoom in. The cameras are so good, you could see a card number like that, but it wouldn't have the CVV on the back of it. So it kind of leads me back to most likely could have been a skimmer at a gas station. It could have been a skimmer possibly at like an ATM, but I highly doubt it because they go out and they service the ATMs and they actually will have the guys around the ATM. They'll scan for signals. One of the popular things for skimmers was to put a skimmer in a unit and then hide the receiver, the box with the Bluetooth receiver, in the bushes 30 feet away. So you're not even close to where you are, but all the guy has to do is come back and pick up the thing in the bushes and never come back to the ATM ever. And he just ditches the skimmer at the ATM. He picks up the box that's received all the signals. He's got all the data. Screw the skimmer, and you never has to get on camera, never has to be seen again. And that's one of the heavier ways to do it. But a lot of this, most of the people with credit card scams are putting their credit card number into a website and the website got compromised. Or they have a keylogger on their machine that then just watch them type the numbers and watches for a 16-digit number and then waits for the next couple keystrokes that are going to be most likely, some type of expiration date or something if you type it in. But then we also have drop-down menus, so that thwarts that. So it really would be going through the computer history of the machine, doing a malware scan on the machine, making sure there's nothing on the computer. Do they buy anything on the computer at all?
Oh, everything.
Oh, okay. Everything. Okay. I'm going to say most likely that it was either something on the computer that was a piece of a virus or a piece of malware, and it either keylogged or screen grabbed when they were doing credit card stuff, or it was something. One of the websites that they went to actually had a malicious leak or a breach, and that breach then downloaded all the credit card numbers, got put onto a list. Someone purchased that list and then used it for malicious reasons. Those would be the 2 main places I would go. The other ones, less likely, but less.
So could I ask a couple of questions of clarification real quick?
Please.
Are you saying that you would still be wise to buy some sort of RF protection device, either a wallet or a case? Is that what you're saying, or that is no longer necessary?
I would look at what cards you have. And if you have more than 1 card that has the little, like right now in my wallet, if I open up, I have my Chase Bank card, and it has 3 little ripples on it. That little those 3 ripples mean that card has a proximity sensor inside it that can beep. You can beep and do a contactless pay thing. If you have more than 1 card that has that, you're kind of thwarting the criminals yourself. If you only have 1 that does that, I would maybe think about getting an RFID blocking wallet, just because if you do get energized, it's going to kick out that 1 card. But with me, I've got 2 or 3. I do not have an RFID blocking wallet. I'm not concerned with that. I have prox readers, and I have penetration testing equipment that actually tests on like my credit cards and stuff. I mean, I hacked my dryer in a college and gave myself $1,000 and put the mag stripe on my driver's license so they couldn't find it. Stuff like that. That stuff like that can be done, but it's more rare. So I don't think you need an RFID blocking thing. But if you only have one card that has a little ripple on it, that would be the only time I would say, well, that would be good, because then at that point you would only be broadcasting that one card. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And she only has one card.
Okay.
She just recently opened up a bank account and got this card.
Okay.
And it doesn't have that Ripple logo type thing on it. It just has the chip. And I have seen people, like in Costco, I've seen people talking to the helper guy at the self-checkout, tell people if they have that Ripple, all they have to do is tap on their device, and you don't even have to put the card in or slide it.
Correct. That's correct. That's a
If you have
contactless
that
payment. Yes.
Okay, so she doesn't have that kind of Ripple type of card. She
Perfect.
just has the chip type of card.
Perfect. So there's no way that an RF scanning technology would be able to take the credit card number out of that credit card in any way. It has to be physically put into a machine or a reader, which leads me now to think most likely it was a malicious website or a malicious piece of code or a malicious piece of software on the computer that compromised the card.
I see. And the second question, are you saying that they can put this skimmer device inside the slot where you take your money out from the ATM teller?
Yeah, it's less likely on the ATMs. It's more likely in convenience stores, supermarkets, gas
How about
stations.
gas pumps?
Absolutely, gas pumps. Every gas pump that I go to, I grab onto the credit card reader and I put my weight on it. Like, for real, I grab it, like I pinch it, like I'm pinching somebody's nose and trying to break it. I wiggle the garbage out of it. I grab it and I shake it. I pull on it, and and it won't move. It won't move at the gas station, I promise you. And if it does, if it pops off, then there could be something completely fake, because they literally make them to slide right over the top. If you have a second, go on YouTube after we jump off the phone and just do credit card skimmer scam and watch a YouTube video, and you'll see these. They're beautiful. The craftsmanship is awesome. It looks just like the ATM and just slides right over the top. So I flick on the casing before I put my card in. I kind of pick at it a little bit, and the credit card manufacturers the card reader manufacturers are actually making the readers a little bit more robust, because they know people who know scamming and skimming and all this stuff will be picking at the card, will be picking at the reader. So they make it with extra rubber. They make it with extra thick buffers on it, so you can really feel, okay, this thing is solid. There's nothing in this. There's no skimmer on top. Because man, you'll look at the card reader, it looks fine, and then someone will just peel the top right off, and there's exactly the same thing underneath, but there's this overlay that has a tiny, tiny little thing that either reads the mag stripe on the side or actually will read the chip on the card and then just transmit all that data over to a box to use later.
And gas station owners don't regularly check for these?
I mean, their pumps are outside. They do, but some people, their pumps are outside. Something could have come along at 3:00 in the morning and installed, just stuck the skimmer to it real quick and took off. And then they didn't see it for 24 hours or 48 hours, and that person could have gotten 150 credit card numbers before they're found out. So
okay. And
yeah.
what was that website again?
I was just doing a YouTube search for credit card skimmer. It's SKIMMER, and or jump on YouTube and do credit card skimmer or skimmer scam, and you'll see one of the ATM overlays. There was actually another one in San Jose that they did a story on where they walked up to this thing and look at this thing, and he just peels it right off the ATM, and it's right off the little card reader right at the desk.
I think from the information you've given me and what she's told me, she gets her gas in San Jose. Mm-hmm. And and this happened about a week before they actually started charging something.
Okay.
So I think it might have most likely been from the gas station.
It could have been. It could have been. And at that point, if that's the case, the bank could actually kind of solidify down when, because after, they could kind of solidify that down and then also go to that, say, oh, I went to this gas station. They could actually go to the gas station and do a search. Sometimes they do that and look for skimmers and stuff. Sometimes the pump owners and stuff are in on these crime rings and stuff too. It's weird. Like the companies will go, or the I've seen ones where the store clerk has something to do with it, where he actually installed it, or he knows the guy who did it, or something like. It's very rare, but that also could be. It's just stealing credit card. I'm not making enough here, so let's make some money somewhere else, or.
Actually, when she told me that she might suspect maybe the clerk in the gas station, I thought she was just being paranoid. But okay, I'm going to tell her you said that.
I mean, I don't want to put that on anybody, but that does happen, and it is out there, and it's one of the scams that's happening right now. So there's a lot of hardworking people out there. A lot of people aren't doing that kind of stuff, and a lot of people. I mean, the guy could be sitting right there and going, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that was on there," because these guys will come on and they'll be distracting, and then they'll slip the thing on the reader without the clerk knowing, or hey, can I get some of those cigarettes? The guy turns around, and the other guy comes in and slides the skimmer right on and walks out. And they don't even know what happened, because they're not stealing anything. They're adding something to the store. So it's a crazy scam, but the videos are, they just make you want to pull on everything. And I do. I now don't put my credit card in anything at Best Buy. I'm picking at the readers. I'm pulling on them. I'm doing all sorts of weird stuff. And you just got to give just a quick tug, and you're like, okay, that's not moving. It's most likely real.
Right. Well, pretty much she's found out. She went to the FBI website. Pretty much you're on your own. The police just don't even care. They don't even. There's so much happening with this stuff that they just can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
So you can't get any response or satisfaction from the police department. So you're pretty much on your own.
Yeah. IC3.gov. Give them as much information as you can. Maybe go down to the police station, try to file a report or whatever. But you need more info, and we don't really have it. It's just. Yeah. It's just so frustrating, but it is. It's disheartening and it's frustrating. But and also it'd be really good just to maybe throw Malwarebytes on their computer and just do a quick scan and see if it finds anything.
Well, she's got Bitdefender.
Okay, that'll take care of the antivirus side. Throw Malwarebytes on there, and it'll take care of the malware side. And check to see if there's anything on that side. A lot of viruses aren't in existence anymore. The viruses that used to be don't get written like that anymore because we do social engineering anymore. The people aren't writing those pieces of code. So I would jump on the malware, though, still does exist. So I would get on Malwarebytes free. It's completely free. Download it, install it, run it, remove anything it finds. But if it does find something, that could be.
You're saying Bitdefender doesn't protect against malware?
Usually not. We've had machines come in with full Bitdefender protection, and we still find malware on the machine because it's not scanning for that. It's a different type of infection.
So it's Malwarebytes is the software?
Yes, BYTES, free software. It's 100% free. You can pay for it. It gives you a scheduler or something, but the paid-for version is no more powerful than the free version. It's one of the best things the internet basically has to offer is the free Malwarebytes right now. It's awesome.
Wow, that's good to know. Thank you. And thank you so much. This has been very helpful to hear what you know about this. And I'm going to pass it on to my family member.
Excellent. You're welcome. If they have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. They're happy to reach out. Catch me at the shop, catch me at the studio. I'd love to help out. I'm stoked I could be here for you.
Okay, thanks again, Luigi.
You're welcome. Have a great night, and I look forward to talking to you next time. All right, bye-bye. And at least the phone line's open for you here in the last, about 10 minutes here at the Computer Man Show at KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org, as well as our amazing app in the App Store and Google Play Store, which is super cool. I was using it the other day, and it gives you like a little graphic showing you who's listening and the music that comes across. It tells you what songs are coming. There's a Vox Pop feature. You can actually send us a little voice message and stuff. Really cool. It's a really cool app. It's a fun, slightly different app than the other things you're seeing, and what better way to spend some app time than jumping on KSQD and listening to what we have to offer. So jump on ksqd.org and the amazing app that we have. Pretty cool. All right, let's see. Let's get into I've got a couple email questions we can get to before the end of the show. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's talk about Blue Sky. I want to talk about this real quick because evidently Blue Sky is blowing up. And Jack Dorsey, who actually started Twitter, started Blue Sky as a decentralized counterpart to Twitter. It was an invite-only organization. I'm not really sure what the invite-only was or how you were to get an invite to it, but it was invite-only, and up until just a little bit ago. And the idea of it is that it's decentralized. It is it's a place. First of all, the company operates as a public benefit corporation, so it's not as far, and I'm not a corporate, business dude, but as far as I understand, that means that Elon couldn't come in and buy it, right? Then let's say if Elon came in and bought it, the servers are decentralized. I could start a server right now. I'm really into like networking, and I'm using this new product, and I'm going to start a networking server that has a bunch of people on it and stuff, and I can literally host that server, like in creation, like sitting right there in my shop or something. I own that server. So if some dude comes on and wants to buy more free speech on this platform, they won't be able to get into my server because they don't own my server. I do, right? And so it's a pretty cool idea. And Blue Sky says it's allowing users to post short messages, photos, and videos and send direct messages. It's defining features as decentralized framework, enabling data storage on independent servers rather than a centralized company-owned server, which is how Twitter works right now currently. Architecture uses the flexibility to join or create servers aligned with the community's values and rules. Unlike X, which utilizes algorithmic feeds, Blue Sky restricts visible content to posts from users' followed accounts. The platform's simplicity and focused approach have appealed to users dissatisfied with X's or Twitter's feed mechanics and intrusive content. I mean, I don't know if all of you heard about it, where they launched a chat, like an AI bot on Twitter, and asked the AI bot to scan Twitter of all the users and find the user that produces the most misinformation. And the bot found that Elon Musk was the largest producer of misinformation on Twitter. Congratulations. You played yourself. They don't know. Their financial model is kind of uncertain. But right now, everyone's jumping ship on X. They lost, I think, 90% of their advertisers or something, and they're all going to this Blue Sky. So it's kind of interesting. It's, again, done by the same dude who started Twitter. And it also said that they wanted to avoid advertising. It'll continue to look at into paid services, such as having people pay for custom domains or their username or something like that. I guess it's not profitable yet or something, but Twitter's failing and everyone's looking for a place to go. And so Blue Sky is giving people a place to go. And cool, good for them. But it's called a decentralized microblogging platform. Check it out, Blue Sky. So I got a Twitter account when I started my business because I wanted to get all the accounts. I didn't know what I was going to use. I got a Facebook and an Instagram and Twitter, and that was basically kind of it back in 2011. And so I've had a Twitter account. I've never used it. I've gone on Twitter a couple times, and I see screenshots on Twitter on certain services, et cetera, like Reddit and stuff. But just Twitter's never really appealed to me. But now the people who do want to be on Twitter, who don't want to be on Elon Musk's X, can. Blue Sky. Pretty cool. Okay, so we talked about Daisy today, talked about Apple's solid-state drive prices, XFX Max, Eero stuff, YouTube Premium. Yeah, so I've got about 5 minutes left here in the show. Let's get to a few of the email questions that I had brought in here. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, this is a good one. I've actually talked about this a few times, and I'd like to talk about this again. This is actually really important, and I think it'll take us out of the 5 minutes here. Excuse me. How can I make sure I don't lose texts with my dead dad and sister when I upgrade my phone? Okay. So it says, my dad and sister passed a few years ago, and I have yet to get a new phone. I'm looking to upgrade soon and possibly switch carriers, but I'm also worried my texts with them are going to be lost in the process. I have an iPhone 12 Pro, which is basically what I have with T-Mobile, and we want to get the 16 Pro, maybe with Xfinity. All the messages are in iMessage, and the threads are a few years long. Be more than willing to just stick with T-Mobile if that meant the process less risky. I have some of the messages on my MacBook, but my computer is not the most reliable as it runs a bit slow and it's low in storage and it's old. I have all of them on my iPad, though. Is it enough that I have it across the three devices? Is there some sort of app I could use to get back these up super securely, or even convert them to a PDF? I understand I could just take screenshots and back those up, but the threads are so long and really tough for me to read through. I just want to have them for the future when it's not so hard. Thank you for any advice. I really appreciate it. So, we had a client come in years ago, and this is kind of before iCloud even existed, and he had a number of recordings of voicemails of his mom, and someone at Verizon upgraded his phone and wiped the phone, and that's when all the voicemails were stored locally, and they were gone, just gone. And he'd come into me to ask about how to restore or how to save them before this happened, and I told him that I'm like, you could get another phone, because right at that point you couldn't save messages or anything like that. So I'm like, you can get another phone. and fire up voice memos and just hit voice memos and have it record, and then you'd have an MP3 of that recording. There was ways like that, right? Or if you were to play some other type of just a way to get around it. You can go a number of different ways to do that. But back in the day, there wasn't a number of different ways. Now, if you have the iMessage history, if you're showing it up across 3 devices, you have a sync to iCloud feature turned on. So that means that you've got, if you have that, you're also doing iCloud backups, and then migrating to the new iPhone 16 shouldn't be any risk at all. What's great though is that you have the original phone and the original phone still works. So what you could do is you could get the new phone, which even if you're ordering a new phone, they'll tell you and they'll let it come through. If you get the new phone, then you'll actually be able to restore to that new phone and look and see if your text messages are there. Your text messages almost definitely will come through. If they, and then your voice messages, that's going to be the other thing that may or may not, and that could be carrier dependent depending on where they were stored, et cetera. But I believe on voice messages, if you just go into your phone and actually click on the voicemail section, click onto one of the messages, you should be able to go and, you can text it out. Let me see if I were just to text this real quick. Yeah, so right now it makes an M4A and actually will allow you to text the messages out. As for saving the text messages, the actual text messages, you can either get there's a message service called iMazing that will do message backups. It'll actually save text messages, SMS messages to your computer from that. There's also a number of like PhonePaw, PhonePaw is another company that will actually have a piece of software that will connect to your phone, download the text message, and then convert it to a PDF. I do that a lot of times for police departments and for different lawyers, et cetera, when they need that stuff for court. And it makes a very nice time-stamped PDF that no one can edit, that there it is coming out of the phone. That's it. So that would be a thing, but... as I've helped with someone else, someone else had like a 15 Pro Max. If they looked at their message history, it was the oldest message history is back from 2009. So sometimes they survive 3 or 4 different phones, right? And also you always back up your iPhone to your computer and then restore it from there as well. So you should be good, but if you just get the phone and just try restoring without messing with your old phone, you should see what's going to come over and then adjust based on that. Either email over the voice messages, text them to yourself, or upload them to Google Drive or something and keep them forever. But you can just do that now anyways and just keep them. And that might be smart. So... all right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we've reached the end again. If I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember, tune into the Computer Man Show Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Harold Fitzstein, Reggie, Jeffy Tibbett, Don Sandage, all of Santa Cruz, the contestants, the Wasp, Mr. Casey, Torvalds, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your computer man here on KSQD, Santa Cruz, 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.
I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man, he is your friend. He gonna help you again and again. So if you have a question or two, he's got the answer just for you. I am the computer man, and I am ready for questions now. Thank you.
Mr. Computer Man, how much is 2 plus 2?
4.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell cat?
C-A-T.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
With letters.